so much to do. How am I gonna get all this work done? Oh, gotta get this thing done. Oh. Oh my God! No, not you again. Oh, come on, sister. People feel happy when they see me, and here you are getting scared. What's so scary about me? Good-looking guy here with, long, beautiful hair. Check out the horns. Oh no, Shaitan, it's you. Why are you after me? Duh. I go after people who are trying to be good. So, come on. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. It's what I'm here for. Don't question me. Don't question me. Huh? You questioning me? Huh? Sorry. Just, can you please go away? Please. I have so much work to do. The last thing I need is you here to give me more stress. Please go away. I can only go away when you are ready to let me go away. But seems like you like me, huh? You like this attention I give you. You like it when I whisper into your ear. I love my job. You big guy, you think these people that you made and you wanted me to bow to, they're worth it? Check them out. You think they're pious and that they're working on being good? Check it out. Just check this woman out right here. You have faith in her? You have trust in her? I'll show you. She does not deserve your trust. No, why are you saying that? It's not true, Allah. I swear to you, I'm going to do my best to be the best that I can be. And I'm not going to let Shaitan get to me. Shaitan, go away, go away, go away. Allah, you can trust me. I swear. I don't want to be his friend. It's an enemy. Go away. Just go. What a very rude manners. I thought it was in your faith to be welcoming to guests. And I'm a hot guest, straight from hell. And going straight to hell. I love my jokes. I'm a hot man, coming from a hot place, going to a hot place. Now, let's have some sizzling chat, just you and me. No thanks, I don't want to go to hell with you. I'm quite fine here. And I'm just going to ignore you, and I'm just not going to think about any of this stuff. Oh, really? You think you can just turn away from me? You think I'm not good at this? That I don't know how to make people like you pay attention to people like me? I mean, this is my business. I know what to do. I know what to say. Don't think you can get away. Sire, I'm so sorry to disturb you. Ah, there is my favorite minion. How very nice to see you today. So, what's up? Oh, WhatsApp, that's the best creation, you are just brilliant. You just, Sire, there is nobody as evil as you. I just look up to you. I'm such a big fan of your work. I just want to be like you someday. I need to learn from you. Oh, okay, all right, enough of this gushing and this praise. Get to the point. Tell me what you've been up to. You've been making WhatsApp, really making people get completely deceived, misled, and distracted on WhatsApp? So I asked you, what's up? What's up? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, sir, that you're brilliant, just brilliant. And yeah, and make them forward all these songs and, all these bad jokes and mean things, racist stuff, terrible pictures. And you know what's the best part? I keep them so occupied that they don't even pray. I mean, they're just so busy on WhatsApp. It's just almost as good as your second creation, Viber. I mean, you're just genius, Saya, genius. Facebook, Twitter, I mean, how do you do it? How does your diabolical mind know exactly how to keep people so lost? You're my hero. Well, it takes years of practice. You know what? Even on the prayer mat, my minion, the prayer mat, my power reigns supreme. Saya, on the prayer mat? I mean, when somebody doesn't listen to me and makes it to the prayer mat and says Allahu Akbar, oh, don't say that. Well, he is great, Saya. I mean, there ain't no way we can compare to him. Now, whose side are you on, foolish minion? I tell ya, you can't even trust. You can't get good help these days, idiot. I'm sorry, I just can't. Anyway, so when they start praying, I feel like I've lost. It's over, and I can't do anything now. Oh, this is why you've got to come to the expert for help. You've got to learn the tricks of the trade. Saya, pray, please do tell. I mean, pray. I don't pray, okay? I don't do that. Oh, sorry, bad choice of words. If you two don't mind, can you take this somewhere else? Boy, that's rude. You're rude without even my help. You're good, real good at this, sister. We're not going anywhere. You're gonna sit here and you're gonna hear this convo whether you like it or not. Well, I don't like it. You guys are disturbing me. Can you please take this somewhere else? No, never. We're gonna be here. We're gonna have our nice little chat, and we're gonna disturb you because that's what devils do. Now, as I was saying, on the prayer mat, a lot of people take their cell phones with them. Cell phone, Saya? Well, that better be a text to God. And who else are they messaging? What's a cell phone needed on a prayer mat, Saya? You think they're sending a text to God? What a foolish minion you are. You think these human beings, they're communicating with God? They're fools. They know that prayer is a way of doing miraj and talking to God. But they'd rather talk to their pals and be on WhatsApp and Viber and Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff. Instagram on the musalla. Ha! See what I tell you, God? You got your heart with the wrong people. Why don't you get it? These people, they're not worth it. Check this woman out. What? What did I do? I'm minding my own business. You're the one bothering me. I'm going to mislead you. I don't like where this is going. Can you please go away? Saya, I have a question. And wait, so you know how to get people once they're already on the prayer mat. How do you do that? I mean, okay, so they take their cell phone. You've got that. But then, what if they stop praying anyway? That's easy. See, first I make them delay, right? I just don't let them get to the prayer mat. All right? I say, come on, you've got 1 hour. It's not qada. Come on, pay attention to me. Stay with me. Finish this movie. Let's listen to this awful song. I tell you, people have no taste in music. But that's all right. As long as they're listening to it, that's fine with me. Anyway, and then once they're on the prayer mat, they've got their distractions, their vibrating phones, and their ding and whoop whoop, WhatsApps and whatnot. After that, I disturb them during their salah. That is just genius, Saya. I tremble at your genius and brilliance. How do you think of all this? Humans, they're very suggestible creatures, you know. You just whisper into their ear, and they fall flat on their face, man. No self-control, God. I mean, no self-control. And you have faith in them. I don't know when God's gonna get the idea that I was right. These people are gonna make scandal and mischief on this land. Excuse me, Saya. Isn't it you and I who make mischief and scandal on earth? Sorry, but kind of wanted to correct you on that one. Shut up. Don't help me, okay? Just do your minion stuff. It's humans that are doing mischief on the land. But Saya, it's because you and I... Oh, be quiet. Oh, okay. So after they finish praying, what do you do? Oh, no. I don't let them finish their prayer. I distract them. I let them think of things. They forget whether they're on the second rakat or fourth. I mean, I'm genius. I just totally ruin it for them. And then if they do finish praying, you know what I do? Genius I am. I make them feel great about what they just did. But Saya, how can that be a bad thing? Because you don't realize arrogance, pride is one of the staples of the devil. I mean, it was pride that stopped me from doing sajda to that Adam. You know? I was proud of myself. I was like, I'm made of fire. This guy's made of clay. Come on, man. It's just not my style, you know? I don't do that. No way. I'm not doing that. I mean, I looked at him and I'm like, what's this? What's this? No way, man. What have you made, God? Please. You said that to God? Yeah. Kind of rude I was. I really messed up that day. It was some of my best work and some of my worst work, man. All those years of worship messed it up in one foolish day by saying that God didn't know what he was talking about and he shouldn't have made human beings. Saya, do you feel guilty? Well, hey, what are you doing, man? Stop being such a pious little thing. We're supposed to be bad. Why do you forget? God, why can't I find good help anywhere? Man, you know, your job is to mislead the people. Why don't you go now? You're wasting time here. Go away. But just one more question. What do you do about people who go to the mosque? Because, you know, this is one of the problems I'm really having trouble with. Oh, that's easy. First of all, I tell them, just listen to the Majlis online, for God's sakes. Live broadcast. But why is that so bad? Oh, come on. Don't you know going to the masjid, the Husayniyah, gives you special rewards. The blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descend upon the people. The angels fight to come to these places. Those are places, it's God's house. Don't you know anything? I mean, you could watch it from home. But going to the mosque, populating the mosques, filling it with people, letting the world see how strong the Muslims are, that's a victory for the Muslims and for God. No. Stop them at all costs. But then, Saya, when they're listening online, so that's the part you really got to learn. I don't let them listen online. I distract them. That's when boop, boop, WhatsApp and Viber and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All my friends come to help. And they think they're listening to the Muchless, but they're posting status updates online as we speak. I just kill myself with my brilliance. I'm genius. Evil genius. Zaya, so once they are in the mosque, what do you do then? What do you mean once they're in the mosque? Are you saying you are allowing these people to go to the mosque? Yes, Zaya, I'm sorry. I've been trying, but it's just not working. I'm not like you. I just don't have the skills. What do you mean you're not like me? Learn. Listen and learn. Saya, the people who come to the mosque, are they a lost case? Have we lost them forever, Saya? No, you loser. Of course not. Once they get to the mosque, what I do is I deceive the people who are there. I make them talk about things that will get them bad deeds. I make them think of bad things. I make them be mean to each other. They're volunteers, and I make them commit such sins and hurt people so much that their good deeds can never, ever, ever be accepted. And women, I make them dress in terrible things. So when they come to the mosque, there is no hijab. I mean, you gotta work on these things, man. You can't just let them be there, sit there. And you know, when these people, they sit there and then there's announcements to give charity, there I am whispering in their ears saying, don't do it. Hey, can you please leave me out of this? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my work done. Don't do it. Don't give charity. And then I say to them, why are you giving your hard-earned money, you fool? Keep it. You need it. Your children need it. The mosque, there's so many people. They're going to give to that cause. Don't do it. Don't be a fool. And you know, these people, they do my work for me. They're doing such a good job. Wow. So you mean human beings become your minions, Saya? Oh yeah, they make my job really easy. I mean, these are my companions. I whisper to them, and then, wow, they do an even better job than I could have done myself. These human beings, I tell ya, they're diabolical. Saya, I wish I could be diabolical. Saya, I have great news. What? Did you mislead somebody again? Huh? Did you make somebody take off their hijab? Did you make a boy skip his prayers? Did you make somebody look at dirty things and listen to music? Tell me. Well, Saya, it's all that and more, because I have convinced my brother to come and join the workforce. May the force be with you, Saya. Well, where is he? What do you mean, your brother? You have a brother? Is he an idiot like you? Please tell me that I can expect some better quality work here. Huh? Where is he? Come on, I want to see him. Saya, pleased to meet you. I just don't know what to say. I've waited my whole life to meet you. You're my hero. You're just everything I ever imagined. All right. Stop this. Lies and flattery. I can see right through you. You know, I am the devil. So, get to the point. Well, Saya, I just wanted to tell you that I've made some friends already, and I'm really working on being your best help. Really? This I gotta see. What are you doing? Well, I make them lie. These little kids, I'm working on them, and I'm starting them young, you know? I'm making them lie, and then I'm I'm making them delay their prayers, and I'm making the girls who turn 9 never ever wear hijab. And you know the businessmen in the community, I help them to feel that it's justified to deceive people and to charge so much for things. And you know, I try to make men and women be partners at work and at business, because that's where our work is really easy, you know, because when a man and woman are alone, shaitan's always with them. So, you know, sire, I'm really, really trying. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm really glad that you know, you're making some effort. What's hard for you? I mean, I want to know your challenges. I want to help you, you know? Well, sire, the hard part is when these believers, they get misled, but then somewhere along the way they start to feel guilty. This is what kills me. I'm trying, but then they feel sorry for what they've done, and then they ask for repentance, and then it's over. It's just over. Yeah, I know. You know what really gets to me? It's like someone slapping me in my face. Who would dare do that, sire? How dare they? How could they? A personality, a celebrity like you, sire, they could be nobody. All right, shush now. God, you drive me nuts. Sire, I'm sorry. Yeah, so as I was saying, it feels like people are slapping me when a believer recites the Holy Quran with proper pronunciation, with the proper makharij and the tajweed, and they're really careful about the mistakes that they're making, and they're really trying to learn. This really gets on my nerves. Wow. These people, we have to work so hard, but they ruin all our good work in just one little thing, you know? You know what really gets me to go to the bottom part of hell? Which really kills me, you know? It's like, I can't take it. What, sire? Tell me. I'll make sure that it never happens. Tell me, sire, what bothers you? You know what bothers me? When people do a good deed towards their parents or towards their family members. They do sila rahm. This kills me. Makes me just hit rock bottom of hell. And it hurts me. I'm like, don't you people understand? You have to hate your parents. You have to hate your family members. But these people, they keep loving and loving. It's like, fools. And sometimes my whole body, you know, it hurts. I need a massage. Oh, Saya, how is your body in pain? How can this happen, Saya? When these people, they give charity and they don't show off. This drives me absolutely nuts. They give charity like a Bande Koda or something. They do it as a believer of God or something. And they just say, don't write my name, just write anonymous. Showing off is how I make all their good deeds go to hell. But they want to be anonymous and do good things fi sabilillah. Oh, sire, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You know what makes me feel like people are whipping me? Whipping you, sire? How could anybody whip you? Whipping is for whipping cream. Oh, you know, you're not punny at all, so don't even try. All right? You know what it feels like when somebody's whipping me? You know what it is? When people do business without deceiving anybody. This gets me just pain. Pain everywhere. Whip, whip, whip. Ouch. Ooh, ee, ow. Oh, ow. Oh, I'm sorry, sire. When do you get hurt the most? When does it hurt a lot? You know what? It hurts me a lot when people remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day and night. It kills me. It kills me. It kills me. Why do they do this? Why can't they just forget about him? Forget about him. They want to do this dhikrullah and all this stuff. And you know when that happens? And I'm a goner. Oh, sire, we would love, move, get out of my way. Oh God, get them falling over each other. Stop! I am the best minion. Me. Let me put an end to this debate. Neither of you are my best minion. You both suck at this job. You're fired. Really, sire? Honestly? Truly? We are promoted to hell? Oh my God, this is the best day of our lives! Yay! We're fired! Oh yeah, we're fired! Oh my God, you people! You're gonna rot in hell, you know that? Just go to hell! Thank you, sire! Oh, you're just the best! You're the best! We're gonna go to hell! Let's go to hell! La 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 la! Bye bye! Deserved it, losers. Now you. What? I'm working here. Go away. Are you just never gonna cave in? Like, are you gonna be so strong? You know what? I'm really busy here, and I'm asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness because I've allowed you to be here for so long without kicking you out. Hey, watch the language. Nobody kicks me, all right? Nobody. I am unkickable. But it is true that when you ask for forgiveness, it's like somebody throwing rocks at my head, man. It hurts. It's like, ouch, ooh, ah. Oh my God. Can I respectfully ask you to leave now? No, I'm quite all right here. I'm having a lot of fun, you know. It's like, let's see, what are you reading here? I'm actually reading about the stuff that you do to get people to be misled. What? You're reading about me? Oh, I feel so honored. But why would you want to read about Shaitan? Because when I know that I have an enemy, I better know what the strategies of this enemy are. And I need to know how you work so that I can build my defenses against you. Oh man, so this is your secret. Huh. I should have stopped you from reading. Oh man. Well, I know that you're my open enemy, and I know that you're always out to get me. And that's why I need to be aware of you and when you are attacking my soul. You know, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was heading towards sacrificing his beloved son, Ismail, on that way, he met, me. 3 times I met Ibrahim. I was like, come on, Ibrahim, let's quit this, man. Why are you killing your son? Come on. And you know what I said to him? I'm like, Ibrahim, this is me, God speaking. Come on, man, don't do this. And what did Ibrahim say? Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, he did not fall for this. Yeah, he was the friend of God. Ibrahim Khalilullah. He said, Shaitan, it's you, I know. You're not God, you're Shaitan. That was a painful time. It was really painful. He was like, I know the voice of my Lord. I know what God sounds like. I know what He tells me, and you are not God. He saw right through me. And then you know what He did? He threw rocks. to me. It was devastating. Truly he was the friend of God, and I, the enemy of God and man. I deserved it. What's going on? I feel really pained, and I feel sad, and I feel choked up, and I feel like I am losing my what you doing, man? I'm saying A'udhu Billahi. No, don't. Please don't. A'udhu Billahi minash shaitan. No, man. Why do you have to ask for refuge from me? I'm your friend. No, you're my enemy. Bye-bye. A'udhu Billahi. Shaitan, could you hurry this up? This death scene is a bit too long. You just got no sympathy for the devil, huh? Can't even die in peace. I am Wow, thank God he's gone. Thank you, Allah, for helping me. I swear, this shaitan, he's always gonna disturb me. But if you're with me, Allah, I know he'll never, ever, ever get me. Thank you, Allah, for helping me. Get my work done now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن أعداءهم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, I hope everyone is doing well, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you all and your families. If we are ready to learn about Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Last day we spoke about Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, and we highlighted an aspect of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam's life, or aspect of his character altogether, and that is his youthful age, and how Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam did not live for too long. On some accounts, he died at the age of 23. But in that time period, he was able to give so much to Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam's followers and lovers. And ultimately, he was able to leave behind treasures and gems that our ulama up until today, use and learn from. And we spoke about Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam's discussion with Yahya ibn Aktham, in which the Imam alayhi salam poses some questions to Yahya after being asked from Yahya or by Yahya some questions. And when Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam poses these questions to Yahya ibn Aktham is bewildered, confused, he doesn't know what to say. Keeping in mind that Yahya ibn Aktham was the scholar of his time, and Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam was a young man, very young man at that time. And we said that this teaches us something, and that is your youthful years, you as a youth, you as a young man or a young honorable woman, use these years for what's most important in your life. For it's in these years that your identity is being built. And when you allow the religion to more or less build your identity, you will find that you will become a progressive adult later on. Rather, your youthful years will be progressive, and you can advance and grow and help others around you advance and grow. And we gave some examples like Hisham ibn al-Hakam, who was the close companion of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, and who Imam al-Sadiq depended on to spreading the message and debating people from different sects and scholars of different sects. And we also gave a non-religious example, and that was Alexander the Great, who began his conquest at 20 and died at the age of 30, and in that time took over maybe a fifth of the landmass of the earth, or at least a huge portion of the earth, and a huge population of the earth at that time was under the rule of Alexander the Great. These are just some of the points that we discussed when we spoke about Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Today, my brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. The Imam that highlighted a tipping point, a turning point for the Shi'as when he moved from Medina to Samarra. Rather, he was forced to move from Medina to Samarra. And this move, my brothers and sisters, was like the first domino that fell, that ultimately led to the occultation of Sahib al-Asri was Zaman. It was the beginning step to the Mahdawi mission. Not to say the other Imams alayhimus salam were not acting and doing things and making decisions and taking stances that ultimately led to Sahib al-Asri was Zaman's occultation. No. But Imam al-Hadi's move outwardly began this new era. And ultimately began the mission. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam was forced to move from Medina to Samarra by the Abbasid Khalifa of the time, so that the Imam alayhi salam could be watched and the Imam alayhi salam can be spied on. And it's said that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam lived, and in his own house, he would have people that were sent by the government to spy on him. He would have spies that would sit in on his lectures or his discussions with his companions, and they would report back to Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi what the Imam alayhi salam was talking about and what he was devising, his plans. Although the Imam alayhi salam was not trying to plan, was not trying to revolt against the Abbasid Khalifa of the time, because he had no supporters. But subhanallah, you found that the Imam alayhi salam was always under pressure, was always scrutinized. The Imam alayhi salam's house would be raided. The Imam alayhi salam would be tortured and persecuted. And the Shi'as alayhimus salam would be persecuted just the same. One aspect of Imam al-Hadi's character, my brothers and sisters, that stood out to me when I was preparing this lecture is his ambition. The ambition of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. What do we mean by ambition here? Ambition, you can more or less find it with all of the Imams, but why does it stand out with Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam? Well, understand this. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam had all of the cards dealt against him, essentially. Nothing was going his way. In the sense that what? In the sense that he was in Medina, where there were Shi'as around him, where he was known and loved by everyone, and respected nonetheless by everyone. Even if some people were not Shi'as in Medina, he was respected by the people there. Beside him was Masjid Rasulullah. Beside him was the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was his home. It was his abode. It was a place of comfort for the Imam. He was forced to move from Medina to Samarra. What was Samarra? Samarra was an army camp. Samarra was an army outpost, essentially, which developed into a city. It was a city for the army of Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi. Yani, the worst possible place you can take the Imam alayhi salam is in between the army, the loyalists, those who are loyal to Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi, and put him in between them. The Imam alayhi salam was dragged from his beautiful city, Medina, the city of Rasulullah, to Samarra, the middle of the desert, or in and around. Although Samarra was a beautiful place, and it was called Surra Man Ra'a. The one who sees it becomes happy. But pretty much the middle of nowhere. Let's say that. The middle of nowhere. The Imam alayhi salam was dragged and put into this hub of Mutawakkil supporters. Not just this. The Imam alayhi salam was put there so he could be spied on. And in the comfort of his own home, between the four walls of his home, the Imam alayhi salam felt that he was being watched. More than this, when the Imam alayhi salam did not even show a sign of revolution, he would be raided in his home. All of the cards were against Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. But you found that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, with all of this pressure, he was still able to come out on top. And he was still able to be that father figure for all of the Shias. And he was able to break through. He was able to break through the walls that were put in front of him. Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say that outlines the ambition of the Imam alayhi salam. There's a narration that says that the Imam alayhi salam would go from his home to a garden or to another house that he had or a piece of land that he had outside the city. He would go there and sit there and either pray or just to get out of the city, more or less. One day when the Imam alayhi salam was not home, a nomad man comes to the house of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. He knocks the door. He asks for Imam al-Hadi. They say he's not here, he's in his garden or his piece of land outside the city. The nomad man goes to the piece of land where Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is supposedly staying in. And he finds Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam there. He goes to the Imam alayhi salam and he says to him, "Oh Imam, I'm a nomad man from Kufa. And I believe in the guardianship, the wilayah of your grandfather, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Essentially, I'm from your lovers. I'm from the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. And I have a debt. I have a debt. And I need your help." The Imam alayhi salam looked at him and he said, "I don't have money. I can't give you right now. I don't have now. But I'm going to write on a piece of paper that I owe you money. I, Imam al-Hadi, owe you, own man, nomad man from Kufa, money, an X amount, or it doesn't say the amount. More or less, he just says, I owe you money. Keep this paper with me. Keep this paper with you. When I'm in Samarra, come down to Samarra and present this piece of paper to me. And I want you to insist on me." This is what Imam al-Hadi is telling this man. Keep in mind the plan that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is devising. And the exact commandments or exact sort of instructions that he's giving to this nomad man. He says, I want you to present this piece of paper in front of everyone that's there and insist on me that I need this money. Do what I say. The man takes the piece of paper, puts it in his pocket, and goes away. The Imam alayhi salam is in Samarra. He's sitting in his home. He's sitting in his majlis. And as we said, in the house of the Imam or in the majalis of the Imam, there would be spies for al-Mutawakkil. Yes? This nomad man comes in. He takes out the piece of paper and presents it to the Imam and says, "You owe me money." The Imam alayhi salam looks at him and he says, "I don't have money. I can't give you any money." The man insists and says, "No, I want my money." The man insists and says, "No, I want my money." The Imam alayhi salam speaks to him and he sits down on the side, or more or less the issue is sort of wrapped up. The man sits on the side patiently waiting for his money. Who sees this? The spies. What do? When the people leave, the spies go to al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi and they say, when we were at al-Hadi's home or in the majlis of Imam al-Hadi, a man came in and insisted on the Imam to give him money because the Imam alayhi salam was in debt to this man. And so al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi, he takes 30,000 dirhams and sends them to Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. Obviously, these are all plans and more or less ways to deceive the people. But the Imam alayhi salam knew that al-Mutawakkil was going to do something like this. 30,000 dirhams arrive at the house of Imam al-Hadi. Imam al-Hadi takes the 30,000 dirhams in one hand and gives it to the man and says, "Here's your money." The man looks and he sees 30,000 dirhams. 30,000 dirhams. He says, "My debt is a third of this. What am I going to do with all this money?" The Imam alayhi salam says, "Take it and spend it on your family. Take it and spend it on your family." The Imam alayhi salam went through this huge circle and was jumping through loops just to give this man some money. Look at the ambition of the Imam. Look how the Imam alayhi salam saw the walls in front of him, and he would not allow those walls to stop him from getting what he wanted and playing the role of the father to the Shias. The Imam alayhi salam went through loop over loop, through another loop, and devised this plan just to give this man some money. And who is he? A nomad man. What's a nomad man? This man that probably lives in a tent somewhere in the middle of the desert beside Kufa. And it's not like he's a nobleman. Yet the Imam alayhi salam went through all of this and put on this show just to give this man his need. The ambition of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is something we don't focus on. It's the ambition of the Imam alayhi salam. Ambition, my brothers and sisters, is not merely devising a plan and getting what you want. No, sometimes ambition takes your own energy. You yourself have to get off that chair. Things are not going to be presented to you in your life, no matter who you are. Let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters, from one brother to another brother or another sister. You are all my family, inshallah. Let me tell you something. In your life, no one's going to give you anything. I'm telling it to you right now. In your life, no one's going to give you anything. You have to get up and strive for it. You have to be ambitious. And this is not me telling you. This is Imam al-Hadi. This is Imam al-Hadi's ambition telling you. Look what happened. It's said one day, one of the companions of the Imam alayhi salam is walking. His name is Ali ibn Hamza. He said, I was walking and I saw Imam al-Hadi in his field. What was he doing? He was plowing the earth. He was working in his field. And as you know, in Iraq, even in Medina, it's extremely hot outside. Yeah, and right now it's summer. Go on your phones after this and put weather in Saudi Arabia, weather in Medina, weather in Samarra. Put 50, 60, God knows. I'm not going to go there in the summer, so I wouldn't know exactly how much, but it's extremely hot. Okay? The Imam alayhi salam was working in his field. The narrator says he was working so hard that I saw the sweat soaking his ankles, soaking his feet. The sweat was coming down from the Imam's body until it was soaking his feet. That's how hard the Imam alayhi salam was working. The companion, he comes to him and he says, Oh Imam, may I be sacrificed for you? May I die for you? From what I see, what are you doing? Have someone else work in the fields for you. Why are you working in the field? The Imam alayhi salam says, I am not going to work in the field, but those who were better than me worked in the fields. The man says, and who are those? The Imam alayhi salam says, the Messenger of Allah, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. All of my fathers worked in the fields. All of my fathers worked with their hands. They themselves worked for their families. They didn't sit down and ask people to give them. Yet they could have. They could have. Shara'an they could have. More than this? Shara'an, I'm talking religiously speaking. Shara'an, a person who was working for the Muslimin, a person who is working and bringing the zakat or the khums or whatever it may be, and distributing it, and more or less working with the funds of the Muslimin coming into the Islamic government and then distributing it. This person is what we call al-amilina alayha. Al-amilina alayha. He's an employee. This employee gets a cut. He gets a cut. Not like a huge cut. Gets something from it. Is allowed to take something from that money. It's prescribed in the Sharia, the amount that he takes. And if he if he qualifies or doesn't, consider min al-amilina alayha. Aside from this, the Imam alayhi salam takes sahm al-imam. Sahm al-imam from your khums is for the Imam himself. It's a personal property of the Imam. When you pay khums, it's split into two equal portions. What are they? Sahm al-sada, sahm al-imam. Sahm al-sada is an amount of money, it's a percentage that is taken from the khums and given to the poor people of the Sayyids because they can't take zakat. So al-khums is given to them. Jameel, put that aside. Type sahm al-imam. Sahm al-imam is a portion of the khums that goes to the Imam and it's a personal property of the Imam. Did he have to work in the fields? He didn't have to work in the fields. The khums that was coming to him, he could have easily kept for himself. He could have gave away a lot of it. A lot. And kept some for himself, not worked in the fields. And this is shar'an. I'm not telling you just loopholes. I'm telling you this is in the books. The Imam alayhi salam, obviously, he's the father of these ahkam, father of these rulings. Yet he stood up and said, no, I'm going to work in the fields like my fathers did. Because working for my family is not a disgrace, it's not humiliation. Working for my family and being ambitious in this world and not allowing my hand to be extended to any other human being other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is honor within itself. Don't you ever think somebody's going to give you anything in your life. And I'm telling you, from experience, no one's going to give you anything if you don't work for it, my brothers and sisters. And Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam teaches us this. Be ambitious in the goals that you want to get to and the goals that you want to accomplish. And also be ambitious with what you want to achieve in terms of your livelihood. Be ambitious with everything that brings you success, whether that may be an education, a business, some other some other endeavor, and your livelihood. These things, my brothers and sisters, are what our Imams alayhimus salam want us to focus on in our youthful years, because they are what we ultimately are going to reap in our adult years and after marriage and later on, inshallah ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
What does the invention of the wheel, Wall Street crashes, and the internet have in common? And why are all forecasters con artists? These are just some of the questions that The Black Swan by Nassim Nicholas Taleb looks to answer. This book has been recommended by minds such as Bill Gates, as well as Jeff Bezos, and a whole slew of other people. Just take, for example, the Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Daniel Kahneman, an author of Thinking Fast and Slow, someone who's dedicated his life to understanding how the mind works. He says that The Black Swan changed my view of how the world works. That's Dr. Daniel Kahneman. So what makes this book so influential that such minds actually believe that the book changes their worldview? Let's find out by diving right in. The first major idea is that of black swans. What are black swans? Many years ago, people thought that when you described a swan, it had certain features, such as a beak, such as feathers, white feathers in particular, a long neck, and they thought that you only had a swan that was white. And in fact, to the extent that the definition of a swan was inherently white by definition. So if you said swan, whiteness was part of the equation. Then along came the time when someone saw a black swan. This changed the entire definition of what a swan is. Therefore, Nassim Nicholas Taleb says that black swans are events that lie outside the realm of possibility in our minds, and yet they happen all the time. The reason is we have a very narrow-minded view of our world, and it tricks us into thinking that it covers everything. Think, for example, 200 years ago, doctors and scientists, they were pretty confident in their means of treating illnesses. But if today you got their prescription, you'd be shocked, because many times they would prescribe you snakes and leeches as treatment, and yet they were confident at that time. Imagine 200 years ago living in a world and practicing medicine where you did not know what germs were. What type of underlying medicine were you practicing? The idea is that little understanding changed the entire dynamics. And before the realization of the black swan, we approach things in a dogmatic fashion. There are all of these types of biases which our mind creates. A good example of a black swan for our audience is actually the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, which started at the end of 2019 and bled over into 2020 and will go on for the foreseeable future, at least for the next several months to years. This is something that was outside the realm of possibility according to many people, and few people knew about what was going to happen. Yet it happened, and yet our world is changed for the foreseeable future. Further than this, the author goes on and says that there are certain elements of our mind which actually lead us to make very poor decisions. For example, the impact of a black swan depends on the amount of information that you have. If you have more information, you are less likely to be impacted. If you have less information, you are more likely to be impacted. Take, for example, a race, a horse race, where you are betting on your favorite horse. Don't bet. I'm just using the example from the book. And you put all your money on your favorite horse. When you put all your money on this favorite horse of yours, the race starts. When the race begins, all of the horses run towards the finish line. Your horse lies down on the floor, and you lose all of your money. Yet at the same time, the owner of the horse bet against his own horse and won all of the money, because the owner had one piece of information that no one else had, and that was that the horse wanted to protest and strike. This is an example of a black swan. The information led the owner to have a less impact in the negative, and you not having the information led you to suffer more. An example also of a black swan is Copernicus and his showing the world that the earth was not the center of the universe. This was against all of the norms of society. This was against all of the normal standard practices of society at the time, because the political establishment as well as the religious establishment had said that it's very clear that the earth is the center of the universe and the sun is not. Yet, when he shared this information and it was corroborated, the entire worldview shifted. The next major idea that the author shares is that of we have certain cognitive biases that we adhere to all the time. We think that we are able to predict the future based on the past. And this is very misleading. An example of this is a turkey. Imagine that you're a turkey and you have been living day after day normally, eating and roaming about. And yet what happens is everything's been normal. So you have no reason to think otherwise. Fast forward the next day, it turns out that it's Thanksgiving in the United States. You're picked up and you're cooked and served on a plate. The same people who are looking after you and taking care of you are now eating you. What happened here? What Nassim Nicholas Taleb argues here is that you are suffering from a bias which is leading you to think that the past necessarily predicts the future, and that's not always the case. One small factor, such as tomorrow being Thanksgiving, changes the entire dynamics of the entire equation. Another example of this is Pompeii, the city that was burnt to the ground based on a volcano. And what happened was every day would have been normal until the volcano erupted and the entire world was changed. This was a black swan, something you don't think that's gonna happen, yet it happens again and again and again. The next major idea number 3, is that our brains are very bad at categorizing information, and this makes it almost impossible to predict the future. Forecasters are mostly con artists, according to Taleb, because they think they can predict the future, and they are horrible at it. Economic analysts, other analysts, they're not good at it because of the fact of how our minds operate and actually gather information. The author argues that we think that things, based on the narrative fallacy, we think that things happen in a linear way, A to B to C, whereas in reality there are many other factors. Take, for example, the situation where there is a hurricane that happens on the east coast of the United States. We think that that hurricane is all that happened. Yet there were many factors that went into making that happen, such as even a butterfly flapping its wings off the coast of Africa. That actually could lead to a hurricane happening on the east coast. There are so many other things that happen in terms of our lapses in judgment, such as, for example, the case where you have confirmation bias. You think that you are understanding the world very clearly. Yet in reality, your mind confirms your worldview by only taking that evidence which confirms your worldview already. Take, for example, the situation in the scenario where you believe that climate change is a hoax. Climate change is a fallacy. Climate change is not true. If you believe that and if you think that, then the result of that is going to be you see a documentary on television. When you see this documentary on television, you think and you believe that this documentary, which is titled Why Climate Change is a Reality, you think it's propaganda. When you think that it's propaganda, then you go on to Google and begin to search climate change propaganda. Everything in your worldview is trying to confirm your worldview. You're not looking for the truth. You're just looking to prove yourself right. He says this happens all over the map. So what's the solution and what's the cure? Major idea number 4. The next and final major idea that we'll be discovering here and looking at is that of how do you solve the problem. Taleb says you solve the problem by taking inventory of your shortcomings in thinking. You literally list out what are your cognitive biases, such as the narrative fallacy, where you think of things linearly, or for example, confirmation bias, or many other types of mistakes that you may make in terms of your thinking. Take, for example, the situation where you're looking at the stock market. Imagine you're living in the United States in the beginning of 1929, right at the end of 1928, right at the beginning of 1929. You look at the data from 1920 to 1928, and you begin to notice that the graph was skyrocketing because the United States saw some of the biggest economic growth during this time. But what happened? If you looked at that and you thought that's a predictor of the future, what you would notice soon after that is that the reality of the matter is in 1929, one of the worst stock market crashes happened in US history. And this was not like the previous 8 years. In fact, this led to the start of the Great Depression. So what would be the solution here? The solution here, for example, would be to expand the narrative and the set of data and not just look at 1920 to 1928, but look at the 1910 to 1919, for example, to look at the 1800s and look at data even before that. And if you looked at this data, you would notice that the cycles go up and down and up and down, and they're not always going upwards. Yet that one little black swan of information changes the entire dynamics of your world. The same happened in the case of Pompeii. If you looked at Pompeii and you thought that last week and last year everything was the same, so there will be no volcano today, you would have missed the picture. Take, for example, the reality of the fact that there is a volcanic body on the west coast of the United States that erupts roughly every 6,000 years. In fact, it's actually been 6,000 years since it last erupted. Yet the people who live there would assume that they're not susceptible to any volcanic activity. This would be another example, God forbid, of a black swan. But perhaps for our audience, the strongest example is that of the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic, which has changed the entire dynamic of our world. Something that people thought would not be possible, and yet it has happened and it's changed our world forever. This has been a summary of Black Swan by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, and these are just some of the insights from the book that are a wealth of information and insights that have changed the thinking of so many people across the globe. And I hope you'll pick up the book and get some insights in it to see what type of cognitive biases and fallacies our minds adopt so that we can actually make better decisions and think more clearly about our world and take accurate inventory of our shortcomings in thinking. If it's beneficial, I hope it's been beneficial, and I hope that you pick up the book and get some more insights. A quick side note, the book is a dense read. In fact, many people say that you have to read the book once or twice or 3 times in order to actually glean from it the wealth of information. Dr. Nicholas Taleb has a tremendous amount of information and insights in terms of statistics, as well as history, as well as philosophy, and you can tell in the way of his writing. Read the book a few times and you'll get more and more insights. Nonetheless, I hope you pick up the book, and I wish you all the best.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تأكلوا مما لم يذكر اسم الله عليه وإنه لفسق وإن الشياطين ليوحون إلى أوليائهم ليجادلوكم وإن أطعتموهم إنكم لمشركون صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this verse of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbids us from consuming meat not slaughtered in the proper manner. Those who care not for eating only halal and they argue that everything is permissible, they are the followers of shaitan and they are amongst those who commit shirk. Now this passage of the Holy Quran is extremely vivid in terms of how great an issue this is, that we eat only that which is halal, only that meat upon which the name of Allah is recited and has undergone the process of becoming halal. And the verse talks about eating meat from animals in particular, but as we'll see towards the end of this session, halal is not just about meat and how the animal was slaughtered, but right now we will see which animals are permitted to eat and which are not. Okay, prior to the process of the correct manner of slaughtering and tadhkiyah, we need to see which animals can be edible for us and which are unlawful for us to eat and to consume in any way. And the laws of Islam split the animals up into three main categories: the land animals, the marine animals, and the winged animals. Now, when looking at these groups of animals, the basic principle is that all types of animals are permitted unless the Sharia sources indicate otherwise. So what we'll be doing is not going through the list of what is halal, but we'll look at what is haram from the Shari'i sources, and the rest of the animals in that group would then be halal for us to consume. Amongst the land animals, now what is haram? What of the land animals are forbidden for us to consume? Firstly, we have the dog and the pig. They are, of course, haram to consume. Secondly, all predatory animals. Any animals of prey, those that prey on others, they are haram for us to consume, to eat their meat or to consume in any other way. Thirdly, all insects and pests. All the pests that are there, like rodents and lizards, hedgehogs, snakes, all these kind of animals which are called hasharat in Arabic, as well as the insects and spiders, all of these kinds of hasharat are haram for us to consume as well. And then fourthly, there are a number of species of animals that the ahadith indicate are forbidden for us to consume, such as the rabbit, the ape, the elephant, and the cat. With the rabbit, we have to be careful because there are some of the madhahib, some of the jurisprudential sects of Islam which allow the rabbit, but we are not permitted to eat the rabbit. So that leaves us with a lot of animals that are permitted to eat, although some of them are makruh. Some of them is better to avoid, such as the horse and the mule and the donkey. However, we can eat the camel, we can eat the buffalo and the cow, the goat and the sheep, the deer and the gazelle. All of these animals, they are permitted for us to eat and consume. Now, as for the marine animals that are forbidden, it's a bit simpler, that all fish that don't have scales at all, they have no scales at all, they are forbidden for us to eat. And this includes the catfish, or what is called the pangasius, sharks, rays, eels, hagfish, paddlefish, sturgeons. These are the types of fish that are haram for us to consume because they don't have scales. And even if the fish has scales on some part of the body, or they had scales, the fish had scales, but now they have come off, then those types of fish are also halal, they are permitted. But those who absolutely don't have any scales anywhere on their body, they are haram, they are forbidden. And we have to be careful there as well, because most of the other Muslim Islamic jurisprudences and schools of jurisprudence, they allow all kinds of fish, and some of them even all kinds of marine animals. So we have to be careful that we know which fish are with scales and which are without scales. But the second category is all marine life that are not fish. They're not seen as fish, such as in the typical way. And this includes the shellfish, the crustaceans, the mollusks, and this is with the exception of shrimps and prawns. Shrimps and prawns are permitted. All of these other kinds of sea animals, marine life forms are not allowed for us to consume. Thirdly, amphibians, such as frogs, those who live a part of their life in the water and part of their life in the land, those kind of animals are also haram, such as frogs. And then sea mammals. Okay, there are certain creatures of the sea which are not described as fish, such as dolphins and whales. They are seen as sea mammals. They are also haram for us to consume. Now, if you don't know what type of fish you're eating, let's say you're at a party, you're at some kind of mahfil, you're on a plane, you're given fish and you're not sure what kind of fish it is, whether it is the type of fish which has scales or another type of fish, then you should avoid it until you receive verification that it is a fish that has scales and that is permitted to be consumed. So this is in regards to the fish, and that leaves a whole category of fish that are permitted, and those details can be found in detailed books of Islamic law. Now, in regards to winged animals, I say winged animals because this includes birds, but not all birds fly, and there are animals which don't come under the category of birds and they fly. So the winged animals come under this particular category, and those which are haram amongst them are the predatory birds, okay, those with talons such as eagles, falcons, hawks, vultures, and even crows. They are all haram because they are predatory birds. Another indication of which birds are haram and which are halal is that the birds which glide more than they flap, when they are in flight, during flight, if they glide more and they flap less, then those birds are haram and forbidden. Those which flap more than they glide, they are permitted to consume. And thirdly, all other kinds of flying like bugs and insects and even the bats, they are all forbidden as well. They can come under the category of hasharat, and they are pests and insects and other kinds of flying bugs. They are all haram for us except the locusts. The locusts are permitted for us to consume. Now, these are the types of animals that are forbidden, but there are other things that are not permissible to eat or drink either. So when we look at the halal, whether something is halal or not, it is not sufficient that it says halal on the packet, because that could just indicate that the meat is from a permitted source, and a shari'i, a religiously accepted source from an animal that has been slaughtered according to the sharia. But there are other things that could make it haram, or generally these things are haram to consume. And the first thing I want to mention is wine and all alcoholic substances. So those drinks which only intoxicate when drunk in abundance, they're also haram in the smallest quantity too. So if there's no excuse that, by saying that this particular drink doesn't really intoxicate me unless I drink 10 bottles of it. If it in abundance is intoxicating, then even the smallest sip, the smallest drop will be haram as well. And this is unless it is turned into vinegar, and then when it's vinegar it becomes tahir again, and it becomes permissible to consume. Grape juice is something that we must to be aware of as well, that if it foams or bubbles by itself, for example through fermentation or by heating it on a stove, if at that point it becomes haram, we cannot consume that grape juice. And if it doesn't become wine or an intoxicant in any way through the fermentation or by heating it, it will become halal again if it is reduced to 1/3 of the original amount. And then once it's reduced to that, it becomes a kind of a syrup, it becomes permitted again. And there are further things that we have to consider in regards to whether something is permitted to eat or drink. First of all, make sure it is not najis. If it is najis, if you know it is najis, then you cannot consume it. If some najasat has contacted it, we cannot consume it. Another thing that is forbidden for us is to eat clay or earth or dust, except the original clay and the earth from the grave of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And another thing is anything that is excessively harmful to a person. And also, finally, it is forbidden to eat something that belongs to somebody else without him being agreeable to it, without permission or his rida, his contentment that you are consuming from it. You cannot eat it. It is haram for you to eat it. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam said that whoever eats the food that he hasn't been invited to, it's as if he has eaten a piece of the hellfire. Because this is maghsoob, it becomes ghasbi and usurped. So a number of factors go into deciding whether something is halal and haram to consume. And there is an absolute exception to all of these rules, and that is when it is an emergency situation, when there is to keep oneself alive, for instance, or to keep a very serious illness away, or to keep one away from extreme weakness due to which one can die or succumb to a serious illness. And the same is the case with the pregnant woman in regards to her fetus. Okay, so in such situations, a person can consume in the minimal amount things that are haram. And the other exception is when it's used for medical use, if an illness is excessive to the degree that it is usually not borne and there is no other route to take. This is the only medication that's available, then you can take it. And also if you are made to consume it out of coercion or under taqiyya, then it becomes permissible. And inshallah in the next session we'll go into further information of how the animals become halal. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.